Okay, Bernie, I want to show you something interesting that I found near my area here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. So here we have Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Twin Cities. St. Paul is the capital city, and Minneapolis is the slightly larger city to the west. I found an interesting land feature near my area, right near my house. I was scanning the area and came across this a few years ago. Can you see the face right there coming into view? A lot of people would probably say that's pareidolia, but I'm saying it's not. And this used to be a lot more clear a few years back when I found it. It's been getting skewed a lot, and on different platforms a lot more. This is so where you see this face is inside of a fenced-in perimeter here, and the landscape is different here than it is all around it. All around it is dense neighborhoods, like the densest neighborhoods you've seen. I mean, look at this. All around, all four sides of this perimeter are these dense neighborhoods. And it's kind of creepy. The guy's looking directly into mine. He's looking directly at me, like right into my neighborhood. But anyways, this area inside of this perimeter is the military base. It's the Arden Hills Army Training Site. Very interesting place. I have lots of footage on the ground here of this wild place. But the face. I spoke to people who have walked through here. I asked questions, you know, and I've talked to people, walkers and joggers and stuff. And I met an interesting fella that told me, well, here, I'll back up here. There's two hills that make up the majority of this feature, the eye and the nose. The nose being the larger of the two hills. And then there's this pond cut out that's making the eye. It's a pond on top of this enormous, almost mountain, but they don't call it a mountain. But and then the tree layout here is what makes the rest of the features stand out. It's how they planted the trees, which are all old trees. They're large trees. And what kind of trees? They're all different types of trees that turn different colors in the fall, which allow you to see this feature at during different seasons and such. You used to be able to make out the other eye. There is another pond there, but I don't know what they've done here. Oh, it's got duck moss in it, so they show it when it has duck moss in it. But there are two eyes, and but they're skewing this, and I'll show you how they're doing that. Check out the marble. When we check it out on the marble, they've really effed it up. You can still make it out. Here it is. Here he is. But look at that. What is that junk? I mean, look at what they've done. And it used to be a lot more clear on this, but now it's just getting bad. Maps is the best platform, I think, right now. Bing, here he is on Bing, but they got a bunch of roads going through his face. You know, they just make it, I mean, it's obvious what they're doing. But you can see there's a face there. And it's on the military base. So I'm saying that's not pareidolia. Just because of the fact that I mean, it's a military base, really. I mean, so the guy was telling me that this is the highest point in elevation, is the higher of the two mountains in the entire Ramsey County. Oh, I'm going to go to the better map. So the highest point in elevation for basically the entire Twin Cities metropolitan area just happens to be on the very tip of this guy's nose, where it seems like his nose is. That mountain is the highest point in elevation in Ramsey County, the county that supports St. Paul, the capital city, and the capital star city. As you can see, these are twin star cities, and all of its suburbs. The highest point in Ramsey County is the tip of that guy's nose. That's interesting. And there's buried buildings everywhere here and stuff. So, which I have lots of footage of. And then I go look and see what Arden means, because I'm thinking Arden Hills. Could those hills that make up this face have something to do with why they call this city Arden Hills? Could it be those hills that are important? Could that be related? And I think so. And Arden is the Hebrew word for Eden. That's what. So, Eden Hills with a beautiful little pond on top. It's very interesting. And so then I went and looked, well, where'd the name come from? Who named it Arden Hills? And it's just some billionaire who had a hobby farm called Arden Farms, which is in the area. And he stated the farm was within city limits, and they named it Arden Hills. In 1906, interesting year for this state, because a lot of things happened in 1905, 1906, like the aerial lift bridge. This is in Duluth, Minnesota, up north, right here. And there's only 2 of these that were ever made in the entire U.S. 2 of these. And I think there's only 4 in the world, the known world. I think one's in France and one's in Argentina. And it's this really interesting lift bridge where this can lift up. Well, this is a road that goes to a long land bar, which is there's wealthy residents that live there. And this road can lift, this bridge lifts up and allows enormous ships to come in off Lake Superior into the canals and into the city of Duluth and into the ports. The Twin Ports is what they call them. There's 2 cities here. There's one in Wisconsin on one side of the bay and Duluth on the other side, on the Minnesota side. So they call it the Twin Ports. One's in Wisconsin, one's in Minnesota. But this bridge, they say, was built in 1905. And the capital of St. Paul was said to be completed in 1905. And Eden Hills, I can call it, was basically named in 1905. They're naming and claiming and founding important stuff in 1905. So I just find this kind of interesting, and I just wanted to share it with you. Pareidolia? I don't know. I don't think so.